Good morning, guys. Kimberly Morgan here. I'm an independent certified Optavia health coach, and this morning I am here bright and early before opening of Original Chop Shop because I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about dining out successfully while on the 5-in-1 plan. One of the questions I am asked quite often when people come to explore the opportunity of reaching their health goals on the 5-in-1 is they ask, will I be able to eat out while on plan? Eating out is such a part of so many of our lives, and people get a bit nervous that they won't be able to reach a health goal while still dining out. And so I want to assure you today that you may absolutely incorporate dining out successfully into a 5-in-1 plan. I ate out, I would dare say, if not weekly, maybe even multiple times a week while on my way to my 80-pound weight loss. So that's what we want to talk about today. I want to talk about where to eat out, and once you're there, what to eat. The wonderful thing is, if you haven't seen it, Optavia has for us a dining out guide. If you haven't seen this little guide, I'll put my hand up. It is a just little small palm size guide. And this is available online. It's something that you can look for. If you're on plan the next time you order a premier order, just go search for Optavia Dining Out Guide and you can drop one into your premier box. It is $1.50, which is, I think, quite a bargain for the information that's here. And it's available in English or in Spanish. And so what's inside? So when you open up, I love the beginning. It has some information about different ethnic foods. So just overall suggestions if you're dining out in a Chinese or Latin or Mediterranean restaurant, pitfalls, things to look for, and then typical things to steer towards when you're in those environments. The rest of this book, the majority of it, shows you national chain brands. And then at those brands, it gives you typically about 2 or 3 suggestions of things that are going to fall squarely in the parameters of the lean and green meal. So this is a great little thing to have. I liked to keep it in the console of my car, so if I did happen to go through a drive-through, this was sort of my security blanket for knowing that I was going to be able to select something that would not bump me out of fat burn and that would meet my lean and green requirements for the day. If you want to, you can also find this online just by searching Optavia Dining Out Guide. I find it a little harder to scroll and look around for what I need, but of course that's a very quick and easy option. Okay, so a little bit of where to eat. We've got all those national chain brands available and it tells us what to eat, but of course, like where I am today at Original Chop Shop in Allen, Texas, there's lots of smaller chains, new and upcoming brands, and even just like singular restaurants in your community where there are great options for eating out, but you need to know, what is the place like? What is the food like? How do they prepare the food? Those are some of the things that are going to help you determine, is this a good place to go for a lean and green meal? So my suggestion to you is just to do a little bit of legwork, research and homework, so to speak, and then make your own additions to this dining out guide. You can even keep some notes in your phone, which is what I tended to do while I was losing my weight on the 5-in-1. I had my 5 favorite places listed in my notes on my phone, and the 2 or 3 things that I had determined were good, healthy, lean and greens in that environment. So how do you determine a great place to eat? I would say, like so many things, just asking questions. Don't do it at the busy time of day, but go in sort of in an off time and just ask a few questions of a manager or staff about how the food is prepared. You're looking for places like Chop Shop where everything's coming in completely fresh, as close to being like you went to your grocery store and brought it into your own kitchen to prepare and weigh on your scale. You're looking for things that don't come in bagged, which would be an indicator of additional sodium or preservatives in most cases. You can see behind me here at Chop Shop all the beautiful produce. Everything comes in here fresh in its whole format and is then chopped here in the shop. So that goes, the vegetables, the fruits, all of the proteins. So that's what you're looking for, a place that's conscious of controlling their sodium and just a health conscious environment. So what do you eat when you determine the places that you want to add sort of to your personal dining out list within the bubble of, you're looking for places all around what I call my bubble of where I work, play, and live. And so you determine those places, but then we want to go a step further in being able to stay cleanly on the 5 and 1 and determine, well, what do we eat when we go in? So one of the best resources, and these are available for most places, this is our Original Chop Shop app. And most places have, nutritional information is really easy to find on the app, and if not there, on the website. For Chop Shop, you just click a little pull down menu, and then I'll show my age and put my glasses on to show you about halfway down we have nutritional information. Let me pull this up a little bit, and I'll just show you one page. But this shows you the detailed level of nutritional information that's available. And so you think, okay, well, that's a lot of info and that's going to be a lot of homework. But I promise you, it is very quick because you're looking for some very specific lean and green parameters. And you can do a quick scan and narrow down what you're supposed to eat. So I want to talk a little bit about using Chop Shop as an example. It can be, you come into an environment like Chop Shop and you look up at the menu board and everything is healthy and fresh. And you can walk in here and feel like you're making, any choice would be an awesome choice. And in maintenance, there are lots of things I eat. The avocado toast, acai bowls, chia puddings, wrapped sandwiches. They're all fresh and healthy and work really well for me in maintenance. But that does not mean they worked well for me when I was on the 5 and 1. So even here, in a very healthy, fast, casual, better for you environment, we have to be mindful of understanding and knowing the parameters of a full lean and green meal. So that's what I want to talk with you about now. What are those parameters? When you're looking at that nutritional information, for me, I kind of went in this order. The first thing you want to look for is the calorie count. And I'm a visual person. This would be great information for you to, again, take down in your phone, and then eventually once you look at it a couple of times, you're going to have it committed to memory. But you're looking for a total calorie count of around 250 to 400 calories. And I'll be honest, if I was eating out, I typically kind of went straight to the 400 calorie number because it jumps out at me pretty quickly. And so you're looking for your total meal to be around 400 calories. So I start there. That's going to narrow things down pretty quickly. The second piece of information that you're looking for, because we know, if you've ever watched my video about walk the tightrope and about not putting extra free carbs into your day, we know that to stay in a clean fat burn on the 5 and 1, we want to eliminate the pitfall of adding extra carbs here and there for our body to burn, so that it gives it something else to burn instead of fuel. So we're wanting to eliminate as many carbs in our day as possible. So it's really important that in the lean and green meal, you're wanting to stay. It's noted in our materials as being under 20 grams of carbs for the full meal, but ideally less than 15. So, you're looking for the 400 calorie items, and then you're next scanning over to the carb column, and you're looking in that 15 to 20 range for your carbs. Okay, so now you've done that, you've really narrowed it down. I promise you that's going to narrow it down to just a few items. The next thing you're going to take a peek at are your total fats. And so for, again, the full meal, we're wanting to stay in a 10 to 20 grams of total fat range. And that's great. So now we have check marked all the things we need to be really careful with. We've looked at our calories, our carbs, and we have our fats. Next, we don't have to be quite so careful, but we want to make sure we're getting good protein, right? Because we love protein on the 5 and 1. And that's a really important part of our lean and green meal. So we're wanting to get at least 25 grams of protein. So that's the number you're shooting for. But I like to look at this last after I have check marked the other 3 boxes as being sort of safe zones. And then I'll look at the proteins. And if, for example, something I want to eat is a little bit short on protein, that's okay. I know then I can make that up later in the day, or maybe I could make an addition to what I'm eating. So here at Chop Shop, you can add an egg white to your bowl or your salad, or you can double up on your protein, which I tend to do if I'm ordering shrimp, because we're allowed to have a significant amount, 7 ounces of shrimp, as our leanest on plan. So this will inform what you're doing with your protein. So what does that look like? So here at Chop Shop, I just wanted to give you a couple of examples. After all of that homework is done, which really just takes a couple of minutes, I narrowed down to really a couple of items that I ate every time I would come in while I was losing weight on the 5-in-1. For me, that was a barbecue chicken salad. It doesn't have barbecue sauce on it, it's just grilled chicken, and it has a barbecue ranch that comes with it. But I would eat this, and I typically would either eat around or have them omit the corn nuts that come on it. And then, as always, I just did dressing on the side and would dip my fork into the dressings. In our category of bowls, I typically would order this Thai coconut chicken bowl, and then I'll show you, it comes with a grain, but I typically order this with the grain omitted, and then I double up on the roasted veggies. And so that keeps it even safer for me on the 5-in-1. And that falls squarely into the parameters of the lean and green meal. If I'm here for breakfast, we also have there's a great bowl here that has egg whites and spinach over roasted vegetables. That's a breakfast item that falls right on plan. So those were sort of my safety items that I ate in this very healthy environment. But I knew those things were in alignment with the parameters of the 5-in-1 and would keep me right on track and feeling good. So a few other tips and tricks that I think are worth knowing while we're talking about this today. Dressings can be a slippery slope. So whether you're eating in an environment like this, a fast casual, where you come and go, or even sitting down at a full service restaurant, there were a lot of times I did this trick of bringing my own dressing. Now, I confess, this was not every time. I am not that well thought out or planned out, but if I did it 50% of the time, I was safer than using most of the dressings that are going to be provided for me out there. So I typically kept 100 pack of these little cups with the lids, would take my own sugar-free, gluten-free, fat-free dressing from home. I would add a little security Ziploc bag to it so that this all didn't end up in my purse or car. And if I knew for certain I was meeting someone for lunch and I was that thought out in my day, I would just carry this with me. My other tip for when you're in an environment where you don't order at the counter and sit down, but you're in a full service environment where someone's bringing you a menu and you're ordering, that also can be a moment when you're dining out with other people where you suddenly have, FOMO, or fear of missing out, because the conversation turns real quickly to all of the wonderful, delicious items on the menu. That's when I always told people, my goal was just to have a plan to be on plan. I always walked into that situation with a plan to be on plan, armed with information from ahead of time. So I always, while losing weight, walked in having already looked at the menu, looked at the nutritional information, if it was available, and had sort of like what they give you in the dining out guide. I went into every restaurant already mentally armed with the 2 items I was going to let myself choose between. And then while everybody else was spending time perusing the menu, I tended to use that time to try to chat with somebody who already knew what they were going to order about something other than the menu, or focus on drinking my water while people made their decisions. And that just helped mentally. It's just part of the mental work I've done by being in my life book. It just helped me figure out, what I wanted to order ahead of time and stick with it. Those were my goals. So that's what I wanted to cover today. I just wanted to encourage you to know that dining out, it's a part of all of our lives before plan. It was a part of my life before the 5-in-1. Probably would be remiss not to say that Chop Shop's been a part of my life for a long time. My husband is the acting CEO for this brand. We have 17 locations in Arizona and Texas. And there was a time, again, where at 80 pounds overweight, you wouldn't have known I had much of anything to do with a healthy environment. And so I I like to give people that hope of knowing, you know, you can be making decisions in your day that are healthy, but if you still have a lot of unhealthy decisions littered in, we sometimes need to, you know, come to a plan like Optavia for support, to use some new tools to get back on track, and then more importantly, develop some new habits for how we eat and set some goals. So thank you for listening today, and just be encouraged and enjoy dining out while you're on the 5 and 1. Thanks so much.